Hi and welcome to another episode of Is It Just Lies? This is a segment where I look into frivolous claims, suspicious statements and superfluous lies. Basically, I'm going to review sites, channels and the like, give some appropriate criticism and comment on inaccuracies. This time we're looking at Shotkit. The specific video is Lumina AI review long-term analysis, use cases, pros and cons. But most criticisms I have for this video appears to apply to Shotkit in general, both videos and the main site. So let's take a look at it. He comes with a nice introduction.
Now I'm not sponsored by Skylum. Now I'm not sponsored by Skylum. Now I'm not sponsored by Skylum. Now I'm not sponsored by Skylum.
Some of you might be thinking, yes, but what's the problem here? That's just affiliate codes. Yes it is, but that is the problem. See, a lot of companies, and especially Skylum, has a rather, let's say, aggressive way of trying to spread out the message of the software and trying to get people to buy it. I'll go into why this is a bit later, but first off, let's look at those affiliate links. Anyone can join the affiliate program and try to, well, basically sell the program. And that's the problem. That link that you get is for selling the program. Basically, when you sign up, you get an affiliate link. With this link, you'll earn money every time someone buys a program or other stuff when using your link. And as you can see from these mails I've gotten, the starting amount you get is about $10, depending on the program, the situation and stuff. And if you get better at it, you can earn more. There's sometimes rewards like selling 10 or 20 programs to get $50 extra, or selling specific amount of programs to get looks, get a program, get other stuff. So they also disguise it a bit like a competition, but it's still just a competition that's like sell 5 copies and you get your own free copy. Which means if you got a person like this one here or anyone else saying I'm not sponsored, it's starting to get pretty iffy because you do make money from talking about the program. And as you can see, he could have got the program free from selling stuff, but he most likely got it for free. If he has some followers and he's a good salesperson, then you get bonuses. You get the program for free because you're good at selling it. And they want you to sell some more, which is also mainly the same persons who get the early previews. And then you're saying, yes, I get it, but how can this be bad? Everybody makes money and they only make a little bit. Well, again, at least $10 per program. At special occasions, they might earn up to 14, like this Independence Day sale. But the bad thing doesn't come from them making money or anything. It comes from when you see these reviews. At first, it might be kind of subtle, but no one ever says anything bad about the program. Not even the most basic things you'll see or find anywhere. And that is the issue. If you're reviewing a program and the only way you make money is by making people buy this program, your review is going to be an infomercial. It's going to be, wow, this is great. Look at it. Wow, how can it do this? Wow, this must be magic. I can't see how this is possible. Doing this on something else would take years to finish. And it'll be that. You'll see even him doing this and all others. And that is a really big problem. You see it everywhere. It's kind of hard to find an unbiased review because most people have gotten the thing or is going to make money if they can sell it to you. So we've gone from people reviewing stuff to people just trying to nudge you to buy it and, if they can, use their link. That is the problem. That is the lie. It's not sponsored, but it is, in a way. You get paid if they buy it. So you can't go in and say, Lumina AI, it's fun to use, it can do a lot of fun stuff, but even if you have a really powerful machine, this program is slow as F. And I will probably be mentioning this again during the rest of this, but he never exports an image. He might go to the export, but never exports it because that shows you how really incredible slow this program is at that. It might not be the reason why you don't buy the program, but just the blatant lies by not doing it, by saying, oh, this is good, let's move on to something else. That's the real infomercial crap. Just show the good stuff, hide all the bad stuff. And just the final thing here. That big banner you see there, it's on his webpage, which means Lumina has paid for advertisement on his page. It's not a cookie-based commercial or anything, it's one he put there himself. And he also had one with Lumina AI before, so his I'm not being sponsored is really at the point where I'd say he's just about the pants on fire level of lying, even though he might claim, well, I'm not really sponsored in this episode. Then sure you are. If you work with someone and if they pay you to do this, that is sponsored. If you wear a shirt because you like it while talking about a Skylum program, that's not being sponsored because you're not trying to sell the shirt.
I'm not sponsored by Skylum, the guys behind Luminar AI, and that means I can say whatever I want about the software. Luminar AI is an incredibly powerful new photo editing software for Mac.
Hey, wait a second, I think I've heard that before. I'm being a bit facetious, yes. See, Skylum, in their so nice and helpful mail correspondence they give you if you sign up for the affiliate links, doesn't only offer you free stuff if you sell their products, they also help you in other ways, like how can you describe Luminar Neo for your followers? Luminar Neo is a creative image editor powered by AI technologies of the future that enables creators to bring their boldest ideas to life and enjoy it. Luminar Neo offers leading edge AI technology and flexible workflows, yada yada yada. So a lot of pre-scripted stuff you can say. So have I seen or heard what he said before? Well, let's look in the Luminar archives.
Luminar AI is an incredibly powerful new photo editing software for Mac and Windows, and it's also one of the easiest and most fun you'll ever use.
You know what I really trust? A guy who knows how to read a script. So he must be on the up and up. He's just A-OK to me. He could read an email. He's smart. So let's get on with the program now that we've established he's definitely not sponsored.
Particularly with something like a drone shot where it takes a little bit of planning beforehand and you've only got seconds before the batteries run out.
I'll admit, I don't know what drone he has, but any drone I know of that's not just a little plastic toy has got lots of minutes. Most of them have at least 20 to 30 minutes of flight time, depending on weather, sure, but not seconds. And especially if you planned it way ahead and got everything under control, you don't just have seconds. That's a stupid thing to say.
You might be reminded of a preset from whatever software that you're using at the moment.
And do you want to know why? Because it's a bloody preset. It's actually just a preset. Not all of them uses the AI features. So, just to mention.
And I'd like to say that these are actually different. They're completely different from presets.
No, they're not. I'd just like to say, no, they are not.
What Luminar AI is doing here is using a database of millions of photos that have been fed into the software by their engineers to create like a different edit per photo.
What he's saying, bullshit. No, it's not that complicated. It takes let's call it a stab in the dark. It goes for something easily recognizable. A lot of programs does this.
So it will look at the image and it will analyze the contents and then provide an edit based on that.
And I know it's the infomercial sales spiel, but it's not an individual look at every image. Then if you put them through again and again, it should give a different result. Slightly different maybe, but it should. This is all pre-made. It goes aerial photo, it goes harbor, trees, street. It's not that complicated.
So whereas a preset provides edits that are exactly the same no matter what the contents of the photos are, the templates in Luminar AI adjust according to the contents, which I find pretty phenomenal.
Yes, if you really like lying, that's true what he's saying. But a normal preset just adds, as the name infers, predefined settings. This also does that, but this has some auto settings put on automatically. Most other programs does this too. Most has some base auto settings that will compensate for slightly over underexposure. So no, that there is just sales spiel. That's things you say to make it sound special, especially if you, like this guy, does not know jack squat about how this AI works.
If it was too intense for my liking, I'd just come down to here and back off on the slider a bit.
So here's a thing that would be important for him to mention right here. Super important. Yes, you can dial down the strength of the filter you put on, but the program does not have layers, so the only layer that works on is all of it. This means if you want to add something later, you might not be able to, or it will also get turned down by that global slider. And that is one of the big issues with Luminar AI. You don't have layers like this at all. Actually, in other programs, if you turn down the overall slider, it moves the setting within the settings pane, unlike this that just does it on a global scale. So that there is not as good as he's trying to make it sound. It might not sound bad now, but if you're editing and you want to use some of those presets, which can be a bit aggressive, then you'll quickly find out how horrible that is, having to work with that slider, which also affects whatever changes you do yourself to the image.
It's just been filled in perfectly. Like, trying to do something like this in Photoshop would take a long time and a lot of experience. It's not something that I'd like to do. So
a few things. No, that wouldn't take long in Photoshop. It's got sky replacement, but before it had that, it was actually still pretty easy to use because it's the basic tool. So if you're a beginner just sitting with it, you'd know it's one of those first things you do when you try it. And also, this is infomercial sales spiel. The host playing stupid and dumb and lazy. I don't know why you would do that.
Move the top into composition and choose the ratio first. I want this to be used as a Facebook cover photo.
So even more infomercial. A big complaint about Lumina AI is it has so few export options. So of course he's making something and it has just what he needs. Oh, isn't that just amazing?
Quick before and an after, before, after. Pretty phenomenal, really. I'm going to zoom in quickly just to show you some more of the detail there and how everything's been relit. It's a bit fuzzy until it loads. There we go.
Yes, fuzzy until it loads, and it's because it's slow.
It's such a huge file, by the way, this one.
And your excuse with "it's a huge file," that doesn't help. That's just bullshit.
And then we go to export.
Ooh, now he's going to export. Let's see how fast it is.
To export, click on save to disk.
Oh, he cut away. There's a lot of trick editing in this video to make it look faster. That is kind of cheating if you ask me, but hell, what do I know? I'm not the one getting paid for not being sponsored. Ooh, the famous doubling down on Photoshop is hard and it takes so long.
That has been done perfectly, at least to my eye. That kind of edit in Photoshop, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it is bloody difficult to be able to do that.
It's not bloody difficult. You're a bloody moron if you try to sell people that such a well-defined edge would be hard, especially it's blue versus brown. That there is the easiest sky replacement. I know that's why they use this photo in Lumina, because it's easy enough for Lumina not to make too many mistakes. But wow.
And cinematic bespoke now.
So the problem here is he's talking about the presets and runs into the view on marketplace, which is a thing they do. It comes with suggestions and then shows you when you can buy on the marketplace. A fun fact, if you buy those on the marketplace, they don't necessarily come up there. They lie further down in a folder called Your Presets. Again, one of those small omissions where you don't mention you don't get that many presets and it does not have that many choices for you unless you pay them extra money.
And just for a bit of fun here, look, there's slim face and going to go to the maximum here.
This here is a kind of iffy feature. Something you don't really want to do too much of in photo editing is changing people's body. I know this is a bit different, but it leads to psychological problems in young people because they feel forced to do this. So, but whether or not you think that is a problem, I found a huge issue with some of the looks presets. They have it built in, so you have to go in and remove it. I don't think it's something that should be a default on a preset ever. Yes, skin smoothing and stuff, as I said, for a portrait, maybe. But body transforming is no. That's just a no.
That's the final edit, so I would just go to save to disk and then...
Oh, we're going to see an export now. Oh, I'm so excited.
And there we go. Alyssa would be happy with her new fun portrait picture. So let's do a before and after.
Well, no, he's not going to show you a slow ass export. Sorry.
Now there's this magical tool up here called Enhance AI. Now don't ask me what it does. All I know is when I slide it, things happen to the image and it looks instantly better.
More infomercial host. Yay! It just instantly gets better. I don't know what's happening.
I'm just going to drag it to where I think looks realistic and your eyes going straight to their faces. If I do a quick before, after, and then you'll see just the power of this tool within a few seconds.
So you think realistic is when you burn out their faces? It has enhanced some shadows, but it has flattened it. mostly it's burned out spots on their faces. Look at it. Before, after. Before, after. Sure, some of their faces are lined up, but it's done a very bad job here. It might be powerful, well, since it ruined your picture that easily, but wow, if you think that looks good, you really need to learn how to edit pictures yourself, because that there is shit, seriously. Before, after. Their faces changes colors. The bride looks unnaturally pale. She looks like normal vampire. And you think that's perfect?
And there we go. As if by magic, everything's been done for me.
First of all, it's not magic. And almost all other RAW editors can copy-paste the settings. A lot of them even better, because this one you can't transfer to a layer. It doesn't have layers.
So just a quick before after. We can use the slider to show you how much the faces have been lit and how much has been done to the whole scene.
And by lit, I mean burned out and given an unnatural shade. Yeah, I see that. Why?
So as you can see, this is a huge time saver.
Sure, it apparently saved you the time you'd use to ruin every picture personally. So, yeah, time saver. Woohoo!
And it's something that I think is worth the price of the software alone.
So you think ruin it for you automatically is worth the price of the software? Or do you mean the auto slider? Or actually do you mean the fact that, like in every other RAW editor, you can copy the settings you dialed in to another picture?
Has been adjusted realistically. Again, doing something like this in Photoshop would involve the use of the liquefy tool, which is essentially dragging areas around and inside of the object that you're trying to adjust. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of practice and experience, and it doesn't yield the best results all the time.
Again, infomercial lies. Yes, you can use the liquefy tool. It's really good. I don't want to go into it, but it is kind of foolproof. The only thing is you get all the control yourself. Sure, it's harder than pulling a slider, but again, and I'm going to stress this, don't do this. Don't change people's bodies in images. It's bad practice. That's not something a real photographer will do, unless it has a serious purpose for some reason. Don't do this.
Perhaps in your case, you take a photo of yourself and you'd have a play around. Oh, I wonder what I'd look like as a man if I put on a few pounds of muscle and I'd be sliding this that way, or whatever the case is.
So, yeah, it's clear when he talks like that, he knows it's wrong. He knows you shouldn't do this. It's an awful thing. But again, he's sponsored, he's paid by Luminar to mention this. And he has to, because it's part of what makes him money. So, here's a good proof of him selling his soul to get some money out of this. But apparently, he doesn't see the big problem here. He can live with being a terrible human being just as long as he gets some money.
Particularly how fast Luminar AI is now.
Strap in for serious lying.
Now, I used the first iteration of it and I have to say it was pretty sluggish. Also, Luminar 4, it does require a little bit of a speed boost in my opinion, but with Luminar AI, things fly.
I'll give you this flat out. If you don't have a really powerful computer, it is unbearably slow. By things fly, he meant I lie.
Now, just to show you the computer that I am using here, it is a 2020 MacBook Air, not even the Pro.
And he apparently went full retard there. So I think the rule is don't go full retard. I'm sorry, but I can't find anyone claiming the Apple M1 is a slow processor. Especially not for this program, which is optimized for it. And seriously, the M1, who the fuck says that's slow? Sure, you can get a Max and a Pro that is faster. And even if it's an Air he has the 16 gig version. Sure, if you went for the MacBook Pro M1, you would get a slightly faster processor, but not much. This is just, why would you go with such a stupid lie? It's not even fast. It costs a fortune and it's pretty fucking fast.
Just from clicking in between the catalog, templates, edit, export, these panels, if you've ever used Lightroom, you'll know how painful it is clicking from the library module to the develop module to the print module, etc.
First of all, why the insane lies? Does he not know Lightroom? Okay, so we'll try to click through the things here. We go library, develop, library, develop. Smooth, fast, no problem. Print. Want to know why? This is a completely different module. Luminar has nothing like this. Now let's see how fast Luminar without cheating. So, go catalog, find template, and go to edit. How long will it take before I can use it? Going. There we go. Then we go to export. And the problem here is the template, the edit and the export interface is the same. It's just the tools that change. You can't compare it to Lightroom when you shift into another module. That is being an idiot on purpose when you compare two utterly different things. But as you could see here, if you compare going from Lightroom's catalog, and I'd like to mention that Luminar doesn't have a real catalog. It has the folder structure, so it only monitors folders, whereas Lightroom has a catalog that keeps track of the catalog. It's not only looking at a folder structure.
There are seconds of delays, especially when you have a lot of photos in here. So I'm really happy to see that all these things are super responsive, clicking on the various looks and the templates.
If you want to sell me on how fast it is, then you should try to switch to a photo you've edited and see how quickly you can change the controls, the sliders, and that there isn't really faster than Lightroom anyway, so why lie? And maybe mention it's low-res preview photos you got there, so that doesn't really count either.
User how big the folder is. It's 6.7 gigabytes worth of 133 images. So if we just get out of here and import it into Luminar AI and just count 1, 2.
So that there is definitely cheating with editing. Luminar does not fade into it. It stacks the pictures like this. So a little editing magic to make it faster. So you're not sponsored, you're not lying, you're just a hell of a terrible person. But the fun thing is, he keeps deleting his catalog every time you see it, so I think there's a bit of a cheating going on here.
But essentially, anything that you can do in Photoshop can be done in Luminar AI, but just very quickly and very easily. And
anything you can do in Photoshop, you could do in Luminar AI, only faster? Beside that being a stupid and lying sentence for no reason whatsoever. Photoshop, it's a layer-based program. The only thing this one doesn't have. Why not just compare it to an advanced Lightroom? Or call it Lightroom with some Photoshop-like tools, which still would be right because it's not really layers or anything. But why would you say that? That's just stupid. That's just, wow.
The reflection of a sky. Edits like this would take hours in Photoshop, and I don't even think many people would be able to do them as realistically as this.
That would not take hours in Photoshop. I will agree, if you have a person who've never used a photo editing program before, might change something faster, but I don't know, if you use Photoshop, you would start up in Camera Raw, which would give you the controls right away, so you would more quickly have to do something to the picture. So, oh, this is going to be iffy because Photoshop is a stupid comparison for this one. That's no.
Is ease of use, how simple this software is to use, especially because there is virtually no learning curve.
Virtually no learning curve.
Now, as at the top here, you can see there's catalog, templates, edit, and export, and there's this like slight arrow here just to show you the workflow. This is the intended workflow. And
those arrows, it's this infomercial stupidity. Why do I have to be so stupid? Why do I have to say so dumb things?
There's just 4 steps, or sometimes 3, to get your photos in and out of the software.
4 steps, sometimes 3? Well, normally it would be import, edit, export. Sure, they've added a 4th step called template, but that's normally not an extra step. It's a step that's within the edit. And also, a lot of the programs only have 2 steps, which is importing, which is a separate dialog most of the time, and then in the same dialog you edit and export. So yeah.
Now, coupled with the ease of use, something that I find particularly great for beginners is just how easy it is to get photos into Luminar AI. Now, you might think that that's something that most photo editing software does well, but if you've ever used Lightroom, you'll know that it's actually really confusing importing photos into the software. You have to decide whether you're going to move them or copy them, and there's another couple of options that I can't remember, but the fact is, getting photos into Lightroom is a pain.
Oh my God. No, please don't go to stupid town. Okay, here's the difference. What he's telling you is, if you want to import pictures into Luminar, that's easy because you only press a button, then choose folder or file, and then you choose import. Whereas in Lightroom, you push a button and choose to import folder or picture, and then you choose import. See, that's harder. It's the same. That's why it's harder. It's the infomercial crap again. You need this to crack your egg. If you want to do the normal way, you have to go to the refrigerator, throw it 500 yards down the street, catch it in your hat, run back, jump on the table, and then crack it. No, that's if you're trying to make a stupid ritual about it. No, it's push, import, done. And by the way, I don't even use Lightroom. Hold on to your hat because it's going to get stupid.
And another thing that Lightroom doesn't do well, and I know another few softwares that don't do this very well, is the actual hierarchy, or rather the folder structure.
Okay, let's agree he does not know the meaning of hierarchy or folder structure, because that is fucking stupid what he's saying right now.
Once you're in the software based on what is on your computer. Now, what I mean by this is if you have a folder elsewhere on your computer that...
Okay, what he's talking about is how the program catalogs. So some programs do the folder structure. Let's take DxO Labs. You just go through the regular folder structure. If you go with Lightroom, it imports it into a catalog to keep track of it. So it doesn't really go to the physical location of it, which Luminar does. And the problem here is you can't really compare those two, since one's a database, the other is a hard drive. If you don't know the difference between two things, maybe don't compare them. You come off as an idiot who says stupid things because you don't know better.
The key thing is any changes that you make outside of Luminar AI on your computer to those images, any changes in the location, I should say, are reflected within the software almost immediately.
But that's the thing about going with the folder structure. It's instantaneous. This is a stupid thing to say. It's the same as, oh, look at my folder on my desktop. Now I delete the folder on desktop. It's not there anymore. And when I put it back, it's there again. This is basically object permanence. And again, since it uses the folder structure, this is a stupid thing to say, oh, this is a good thing about this. That's the bare minimum of what it should and can do. I do know the big problems in Luminar 3 and 4 were the fact you could not remove files from your catalog. If you delete the file or moved it or went somewhere else, you had to delete your entire catalog to be able to do this. So yes, this is a step up for Luminar. But again, it's the bare minimum of what a program like this should be able to do. And actually, it should be better at it. You should be able to say, oh, the picture's over here now. And another thing that he does not mention here, but is quite important. In Luminar AI, you can't remove a single picture. You can't get out of the catalog. You can only delete it by moving it to the trash. You can't take it out. You can't do anything. And if you remove it here and try to put it in again, it won't see it because it does not accept it again. So I would say it has the shittiest catalog ever, which isn't really a catalog since it's just going by the folder structure. And seriously, it's so bare bones you can't remove a single image or get it out if you don't want it there. It's a terrible catalog. But then again, what we saw in Luminar 3 and 4 shows they can't do catalog at all.
That contains images, and you were to move those images from that folder to another folder, then Lightroom or another photo software would give you a warning symbol and it would say something like missing photo.
And the Lightroom crap. No, it does not just show you a missing photo. It tells you it's not where it's supposed to be, but it also gives you the option to relocate it or have it try to relocate it itself. I'm not the biggest fan of Lightroom's catalog because, yes, if you have to mess around with it, it gets tedious, annoying, and you are so limited. It's so incredibly outdated, the way you control it. But again, it's cataloged. It's not just a folder structure.
A bit of time and it pulls them all back in here. Now, Lightroom doesn't do this. It just shows a missing images icon, and it makes it very confusing because you don't know exactly what it has in Lightroom, what it has outside of Lightroom, etc.
Seriously, what's wrong with your brain? How can you say a sentence like that? It shows a missing item icon, and you don't know what it has. I hasn't got there. It shows you a freaking missing item. Here's a pop quiz. Do you think it's got it right there, or do you think it's missing? Do you think it's there or missing? I'm just saying, try to turn on your brain for 2 seconds and see, is it there or is it missing?
And it makes it very confusing because you don't know exactly what it has in Lightroom, what it has outside of Lightroom, etc.
How can you not tell? It has a freaking missing item icon. Are you trying to be purposely as stupid as possible? Are you seriously this goddamn fucking stupid? I'm asking. Wow. So in your not at all trick photography, it just appears, but when you throw it back in, it loads in the right way? Me thinks you're cheating a lot.
The export panel is similarly very simple as well, but overall it's a simple piece of software to use. There's virtually no learning curve, and I think it's ideal for beginners.
No, it's not simple. It's basic. It has so few settings that people who do this for a living hardly can't use it because you have to do so much more work on top of this. So it's, what's the word? Shit. It's literal shit for doing professional work, but it has the basic features. That's the difference.
Down at the bottom, you've got some of the professional tools here, which include auto distortion corrections, removing of chromatic aberrations.
So you're trying to sell me on auto distortion correction being professional. Fine. I thought it was a basic feature of these programs, and you don't have any problems with them throwing it down in the bottom where you have to find it and apply it yourself, because most other programs throw it very close to the basic settings. And a lot of them does it automatic because it's quite important to undistort the picture. And almost all lenses have distortion, some more than others, so it's a crappy place to put it if you want to incorporate it into your workflow, because it isn't and shouldn't be one of the last things you change. Actually, it should be pretty close to the top because you need to know how it looks, because it helps you when you're adjusting the picture, and especially if you're going to crop it. It should lie above cropping no matter what. And seriously, it shouldn't be a thing where you have to scroll to the bottom to do that before you can start editing or anything. That's the worst placement of it. That's one of the most annoying things about this program. Distortion correction and chromatic aberration removal has basically been placed out of reach for easy correction and editing. So
when you start to apply these features, there is a little symbol that appears here, a little pen symbol, where you can add a mask. And what that means is you can paint in areas of the photo to exclude or to include in the rest of the edits. And what that allows you to do is to go really granular with your editing, as you probably would do in Lightroom or another photo editing software. And it allows professionals like myself to get a bit more hands-on with the editing experience. So I really like that.
So many things in this little clip. First of all, it's nice to be able to draw in a mask. The problem here is you get one. You only get one for each tool. Second of all, in this program, which he claims to be fast, did you see how slow that pen reacts? It's so slow and choppy you can't make a decent mask quickly with it. And he has a fast computer. And since he really likes to throw in the professional title here, I think it's very important to stress that the only requirement for him to call himself a professional photographer is to, at some point, having been paid for doing photography stuff. Though, since he's kind of crappy at editing photos and really good at selling out, he could turn it around because he says he's not sponsored. So maybe he thinks that when he's making an infomercial for a software like this, the money he gets from the sales justifies him being professional, because now he's getting paid to do photography stuff, even though he obviously is very crappy at this. I don't know, maybe his pictures are better than what he shows here, but yeah, the things he's shown here is awful, and his understanding of photography seems terrible. So I'm going to let this run without the audio. He's ending the video with a giant sales pitch, just straight up lying and just going by the sales spiel from Skylum. But the thing here is, what really annoys me here is the blatant, this is a goddamn commercial. I'm trying to sell this shit to you. He's showing the commercial in the top corner of the video with all the amazing claims which haven't been fulfilled yet. And he's going, well, I'm not being sponsored. I'm just doing a full-on commercial, getting paid if someone buys this. That seems honest, right? But no, seriously, there's just a horrible thing to do. That's being a horrible person. That's just shitty. You're doing a fucking commercial. Own up to it. You're lying about stuff. You're making trick edits to make it seem better than it is. He clearly knows he's lying. He clearly knows the things he's saying are utterly stupid. He don't care because the people he's trying to rope in don't see this because it doesn't say sponsored, because he's technically not sponsored. He's just paid if you buy it, which should count as sponsored. But hey, people are assholes. Assholes want to make money, so...
Okay, so as I said at the start of this Luminar AI review, I'm not sponsored by Skylum, which means I can say whatever I want.
So not sponsored, he only gets money for it. But what he really wants to say is apparently lies and what Skylum tells him to say. So I know, finding words is hard. But let me translate his words for you. What he really wants to say is, please buy the software and give me money. I have no other talent.
On the topic of Luminar 4, the next disappointment for many existing Luminar 4 users was the lack of an upgrade discount, which is a little bit stingy on the part of Skylum, I think.
A little bit stingy. Well, I would use the word crappy, since they claimed it's totally different, but it pretty much looked like it at the beginning and still looks like it. It's just a dumbed down version of Luminar 4 with the tools they promised for Luminar 4.
That Luminar AI didn't inherit all the features of Luminar 4, notably layer-based editing. It's also unclear what will actually happen to Luminar 4, but I do have a sneaky suspicion that soon all that will exist is Luminar AI, and all the features from Luminar 4 will be rolled into Luminar AI before Luminar 4 ceases to exist.
So a few things with that. Again, as he said, didn't inherit all, which infers it's mostly the same program. But yeah, basically they removed the cataloging, well, dumped it down, removed layer-based editing as it was, but it's actually unclear. It's never been unclear. They've done this every time. They stopped development on Luminar 3 when they started Luminar 4. They stopped development on Luminar 4 when they made Luminar AI. So they killed their programs. It's not surprised. They've been doing it for a long time now. And no, it won't be rolled into one. He already knew this way ahead when he's doing this video. This is another moment of him lying, because at the point he's making this video, Neo has been talked about a lot. He's clearly on the Skylum affiliate program, so he knew it. I knew it. Lots of people knew it. And most people also know they don't work on the old programs. And I think he doesn't mention here is most of the tools in Luminar AI was promised for Luminar 4. A lot of them even promised for Luminar 3. They just cut ties. That stupid rosy speech is coming with that, oh, I think they're gonna put them together and blah blah. No, that will always be a lie. The same lie as when they said Luminar AI was not Luminar 5 because it was totally different, which it wasn't. Now Neo's coming out, has a new engine, so maybe different. Spoiler, not really. I do not get why there's so many people like him on the internet wants to perpetuate the lies. I do know they want to make money, but you destroy all honesty you have. Okay, people sometimes believe the lie and then they just go along with it. He knows it's a lie. He's doing this to make money, so he's lying with the help of Skylum. And sure, he's playing dumber about, I don't know what's going to happen to Luminar 4. No, around the time he made this video, they officially cancelled it. And if you look at the track record, they always cancel them. But again, end of this video. So there's a lot of people like him. If you ever watched a Luminar video, you know how YouTube is. Gives you tons and tons of other videos and you'll see the same lies. Seriously, just try to look at these videos. You'll see how similar they are, how much they lie, how much they don't care, and how much just, oh, I'm so honest. I would never lie. Just buy the software through me, then I'll get some money. Well, they don't say I'll get some money necessarily. But the number one gripe about all this is he's not being honest. None of them are. You can't be honest about the program if you want to sell it. If you tell people it's kind of slow if you don't have a kick-ass machine, you can't sell it. If you're saying, well, they'll drop support of it shortly after Neo comes out, they won't buy it. If they say they have really questionable EULA, which states that they can at any time cancel your account if they feel like it. So, i.e. if you're negative about them somewhere, they can just cut you off because you allowed them to. So that's the point. He's not honest. No one trying to tell you something is honest about it. They won't go, well, it has a lot of issues, it had a lot of problems. They will always marginalize the problems, try to make him seem small, petite like him. I don't feel it's slow. You don't? but you don't want to show how it works, how it exports. You say, oh, I don't even have a fast computer. You got a very fast computer with an M1 chip. It's optimized for it. It's an expensive computer you got. You can't claim my really fast computer is not that fast. It's expensive and fast. Ergo, the program is not slow because it runs okay on my computer. That's not good enough. The computer you got, the program should look more fluent when you use it, especially the brush, especially when you switch the tabs, and especially when you export. Just ask yourself, why didn't he show export once? And why does he feel he needs to make trick editing to make the program seem faster or better? I don't get that. That's the worst thing. The trick editing, that's not just lies. That's literally trying to deceive people. I only got one word for that. That guy is an asshole. He's a lying, fucking cheating asshole. That's a lot of swear words, but this is why we can't have nice things. People like him willing to lie and trick and cheat just to make a buck. Just to be another one of the thousands of Lumina liars or other products. Generally, if you make money off your review by people buying the product, your review is most definitely not honest. And this is the worst of all. He even sells courses for this program. He's such a fucking liar. Oh my god. Well, this has been another video. So remember, get informed and don't trust the paid parrots.